on YouTube, I think this is something like 3 out of 3 for me, 3 nights out of Thursday. So how's it going? I'm sure there'll be lots of familiar faces. This again is a bit of a special one just for you Brainia students. So this is for our Brainia students who do biology actually. So our Brainia program basically means that if your school or college want to get signed up and want to use our resources, then we basically give you the resources, or the school or college resources. We give them effectively the ultimate guide for free. You can't comment and you can't join our web classes, but you get all of the tutorials. So you can't sign up as a student. Obviously your school or college, your head of department or your teacher has to contact us and get in touch. Hey T-Boy, yeah, I figured we'd have some regulars jumping on. We're just about to send a text to some of our Brainia students, so they are going to be logging on and joining us. T-Boy, you're one of our subscribers now, full fat regular subscribers. Which courses do you have? Remind me. I don't know which account. I could look up your account, but yeah, let me know in that chat there, like what your experiences of TT are, which subjects you do, which examples you do. I'll be asking those the Brainia students when they join us fairly soon. We're just about to send them all a text message saying, basically, come join me on the live. I'm going to be going through how to use the ultimate guide, the Brainia courses, and how to use the revision kit as effectively as possible. We're actually doing a YouTube and a Zoom web class on Monday next week on how to improve 1 to 2 grades in May. So Gabriella, we just published, actually, exciting news. We just published all the 2018 papers inside the revision kit. So yeah, inside you can download all the 2018 papers from within the Academy inside the revision kit. So biology, chemistry, maths. I'm just actually about to do a walkthrough of where they are. So if you've got the revision kit, then I'll show you all the bits and pieces, where to find them, and the best sort of idea of what to do with them. So yeah, let me just check actually to see whether any of our text messages have just been sent, to see whether any of our Brainia students will be joining us. Although actually, I don't know whether these are all text messages. Some of them might be emails, and nobody ever opens emails. What do you guys ever open your emails? Like, email is dead, isn't it? Email is dead. Facebook is dead. Basically, yeah. I don't think people. I hate emails. When people email me, I'm just like, oh, I really don't like dealing with it anymore. Sweet, Pierre. I mean, Pierre, you're super active. You ask us loads of questions. I've actually got some help helping me out with the comments on the biology course right now, just because there's so much volume and I'm like so busy doing other bits and pieces. Okay, so what do we got? Kid from the block, AQA Biology. Check your emails more on the social media. Yeah, well, sometimes, yeah, I've turned off basically all my notifications on my phone. Best thing I did this year was just turn off all my notifications. I get text message notification and I get phone calls. Everything else, just I look at my phone otherwise it just like beeps and it buzzes and you want to go check it, and it's just such a distraction. Probably really good at revision time as well. Just like all notifications off. In your breaks, if you're using our action hours, do your 45 minutes. In your 15-minute breaks, then you can go to your phone, go check out if anyone's messaged you. There's very little that actually has to be responded to like there and then. So it's really, really best change I made to my personal life this year, just turning off all notifications. What's the difference between OCR and AQA Biology A-level spec? Topics-wise, there's different exam styles. OCR do much more on the validity in the practical skills. There are various topic things that are different. OCR do the histology of the kidney, the liver, the pancreas. AQA do digestion and co-transport of fats and lipids and carbohydrates. There's lots of different bits and pieces. Broadly speaking, they're very similar. All the enzyme stuff. I mean, for example, there's just lots of my videos in the Ultimate Guide. They're basically the same video. But for OCR, they need to use a slightly different key term. And so like it's more or less a car. I just filmed it twice and used the ever so slight tweak on the different ones. The specimen papers are always weird revision night. They are super strange. They are definitely, because nobody actually sits them and nobody actually gets assessed on them for real. they are not as they're not as well checked. The mark schemes are not as good, but they are. I mean, when the course was released, that was all there was in terms of like in terms of the available information that we had to go on. So like they are useful. The 2015 specimen papers are useful, but I would use the 2017s and the 2018s. They're going to be much better A-level papers. And obviously for the AS papers, you've got 2016s and as well. So you've got a few more things to go at for the AS papers, which are obviously going to cover the first year of the content. But if you're just looking for the year 2 content, the A-level papers are obviously going to be the only things you can do for that. And then, yeah, you're basically going to have to figure out like what the most common questions are. But in the revision kit, you obviously got all those questions by topic, so it'll really help you with that. All right, let me just check over here that everything's rocking and rolling before I leap on into too much detail. So if you are one of Brainia students, let us know that you are Brainia student. Let me know also which exam board you do, because that's going to maybe affect some of the bits and pieces I do. If you've got any crazy hard topics that you want me to go through, I might just do a bit of a biology topic at the end. But the whole purpose of this session is to give you a guided tour through the ultimate guide, which you've obviously been using for most of the year, and also to show you around the revision kit, which as Brainia students, all our Brainia students and all our ultimate guide students get 40% off the revision kit. It's obviously much cheaper if you are one of our subscribers. Okay, so most of that looks like it's going. We had a bit of a technological issue earlier. I'm just going to refresh this over here and just see whether the same issue happened again as what happened before. Basically, I don't know, we use lots of different bits of software, and like the one that was sending the emails and it sends the text message via a different, basically it sends the information. When was that? And it all basically went wrong earlier on this evening. I don't know quite why, but we've tested it loads of times and it just was like, computer says no. Okay, let's catch up with some questions over here. Set timers on Instagram will tell you when you reach a certain times. So yeah, are you using any revision apps? That's actually, are you using any like focus apps? I know there's things like Be Minded, and there's lots of things that you can basically kind of like lock off parts of, you can basically suspend various websites. You can block websites. You can say I'm starting a study session for 1 hour or for 45 minutes, and it will then basically go into like shutdown mode. So you only have very restricted access to your computer, to your phone, which means that you can't go away and use social media and stuff like that. Is anyone using any stuff like that? So you got the ultimate guide and the revision kit. There's so many resources. Sometimes you don't know where to start. You decide to watch the ultimate guide year 1 to, okay, so from the block, then absolutely the ultimate guide is like going to teach you the content. There's so much stuff in there. I would say I'll give you a sort of a guided tour as to how best to use it. But the best way and the best thing to do will be to attend the session we're doing on Monday, how to improve 1 to 2 grades in May. And basically we're going to break you down like a method that you should be doing. You'll have heard us say it many times before, but you should do a past paper, closed book, time conditions. You do that, and then you find your weaknesses, and then you can go to the ultimate guide. If your content knowledge is not good enough, then you go to the ultimate guide and learn the ultimate guide. That's going to like fill in all your content knowledge as quickly as possible. And then the revision kit you can then use to do questions by topic. You can use to basically learn exam technique to see how you can also improve that. So it depends where you're losing the marks. So losing the marks because you don't have the content knowledge, in which case the ultimate guide is the best place to start. Or are you losing marks because of your technique, of the skills, in which case the revision kit is the place to go to. Are there still 7, 9, and 9 markers in the OCR spec? There are some extended response questions, and edXL do a 9-mark question on their paper 3. OCR do definitely 6, and there might be the odd 9-marker in there. Basically from OCR you get the 6-mark extended response questions. They're the most common long answer questions. Okay, so What is Brainia? Brainia is the program that we give to the school students. So if your school signs up and your teachers contact us and say that you want to incorporate Brainia into the school curriculum, then we give the school the access to the resources for free. So this session, we just basically invited a whole bunch of our Brainia students to come and join us, and I was going to give a bit of a guided talk, although we've been having some tech issues, so maybe it's not going to happen. I'm just kind of waiting around. I'm hoping to see a nice spike to check that it's all happened, but yeah, as I said, we had a few issues earlier on with testing this system, and let me just have a look. Okay, so they've all gone through there. So in theory, it should have all worked. Now, if I check over here, I wonder if it actually worked or whether it did what it did before and just went bleh, and like, I'm hoping to see some. I don't know. I have no idea. One more search of this. Oh, wow. It just turns itself off crazy. Well, I don't know what the issue is. I'll go through it anyway. I'm sure. Have we got any Brainia students in here? It looks like the same issues happened again. I'm not too worried. I'll go through what I was going to do anyway, so we can have the recording and we can send it to them as a recording. Okay. What's good? Trash. Yeah, the revision kits. It's like I just spent the last 4 months of my life working like 12-hour days, building the revision kits. Like, totally depends on what your issues are. If you're an Ultimate Guide subscriber, then obviously said you get the revision kit way cheaper. But if your content knowledge is like bomber right now, if your content knowledge is like solid, you don't need the Ultimate Guide anymore. You probably just need the revision kit. But if your content knowledge is still a bit shaky, then you probably need both. So totally up to you. If you're an Ultimate Guide subscriber, then I'll show you. That's something I'll show you if it's easier for me to screen share. Put your question again, Kid from the Block. I don't know. I missed it. It's gone off the top of the chat. With Chemistry Ultimate Guide, you can download a template and fit it in for yourself. They're all below the video. I can show you where the template notes are. That's another thing I can show you. Yeah, the 6 marker or the extended response questions for OCR do range. Basically, I don't know if there's a particular pattern. I haven't noticed one if there is. Okay, let's just jump in. I'm using Zoom today. It's way easier for me to use Zoom. First of all, I'm going to show you, if you are a Brainia student or if you are an Ultimate Guide student, I can show you how to add the revision kit. And so you're now seeing this screen over here. So this student is enrolled in like all of the courses from us. You have loads and loads of courses, loads of math courses. So the regular Ultimate Guide students, for those of you who are Brainia students, you're going to be familiar with these courses for biology, or these courses for chemistry, or these courses for maths. The ones you won't know that are not included in the Brainia course are the web classes. So there's live web classes every week. We do 1 hour on year 1 stuff for biology and 1 hour on year 2 stuff for biology. So that's all in there. All these lovely shiny graphics are our new revision kit stuff, and you'll see how much stuff there is in there. So if you want to add the revision kit, there's a course bundled into your account if you are a Brainia user or if you're an Ultimate Guide user. And if you go in there, you'll find a lesson that looks a bit like this. I don't know why yeah, okay. And so you can choose, obviously, whichever exam board you want. And normally it's £49 a month. And if as one of our subscribers to Brainia or to the Ultimate Guide, you can have it for £29 a month. So you can just add it on, and you can do that from within the Academy. It's on your My Courses page. If you don't know how to find that, it's all in the menu, just in the My Courses page. Okay, so I think let's start with the Ultimate Guide and the template notes. Let's answer that question first. So let's do year 1. AQA, this student, obviously it depends on which course you're in. You have all the intro videos. If you are new to the course, I would suggest you watch all those. They're like just 1 minute each. They're super short, those videos. let's take a random lesson from here. Let's go something like this. Okay, let me just move the chat so I can actually see what you're saying and look at my screen at the same time. Okay, so the template notes are here. You can download the template notes from, it should be underneath every single video. I'll open it up so you can see what it has. You basically will download like this. Oh, and only, I wonder if it'll, yeah, perfect. And what the template notes are, they basically give you like the template, the skeleton, the outline, all the key terms that you are basically going to be on this left-hand side. So you can summarize them here. You can fold them over and like use them like a flashcard. And if you actually look at this lesson and what it actually looks like, if I skip to the end, so you have, this is the actual lesson, and you can see, and then you have the empty outside bit. So you still have to do all the mental energy. You still have to take your notes, which is why they're templates. There's no point me giving you just the downloaded PDFs, because what will you do? You'll just put them on your hard drive and you'll probably not write any of your own notes, and totally destroy the learning outcome of the actual lesson. So the templates are super awesome. That's where you find them. You find them underneath. So a really nice way you can use for revision at this time of year. Something that was going to be number 2 on my list, but I'll make it number 1 just for you, is basically you can print off the template note and you can basically see how much of this, you can maybe watch the video on double speed. So you might rip through the video and then take the video off the screen and then see how much of the template note you can complete without the video being on the screen. So you're just doing it from memory. Revision at this time of year is all about pulling information out of your head. It's not about trying to cram more information in. You should be pulling information out and then finding out what's missing. Once you've filled in as much of this as you can, you'll then see, oh, okay, I don't remember anything about the secondary structure, but my knowledge of the primary structure is good. My knowledge of the tertiary structure is good. Quaternary structure is a little bit hazy. So then you know, well, I've got to boss up on my secondary structure and I've got to boss up on my quaternary structure. What are the key terms that you're missing? Could you define all those key terms before you watch the video? Maybe you actually don't even watch the video, just print out the notes and just see how much you can fill in. And then you have some idea as to like where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are. And another great way of doing that, who's using the traffic light system? So above every lesson, you've got the green, amber, red. And so, or red, amber, green, I suppose, as the sequence is. And you can see that the color of the dot over here in the margin is changing as I'm changing it. So you can, as you're watching every single video, even if you just don't know and you just mark everything as amber, that way you can have a record of which ones you've watched. I mean, I'd recommend that you try and make a judgment call. Is your knowledge good? Is your knowledge bad? Is your knowledge somewhere in the middle? And then you can actually go to, in the menu, you can go to your traffic light summary page, and then you can sort by subject and you can sort by color of your dot. So you can look at all your red biology videos in one place on the traffic light summary page. So that's another great way of using the ultimate guide or the revision kit at this time of year. You can just like, okay, show me all my red ones. So let's maybe just mark a couple of these. And then you can go to that in the traffic light summary, and then you can view all of those. How many of you knew that little feature was there? And if you know that was there, that little traffic light summary, it's not something, I mean, not something that lots of students have been using, I don't think, but it's like really, really effective. It like, obviously you've been using it throughout the year, and now you've got basically all, of 5 weeks, 6 weeks maybe, until the end of your exams to get everything. So now you want to be focused on the things that you don't know, all these red ones. That's the ones you want to be doing. Yeah, Mira, is it okay to use a revision kit as your only revision resource? Yeah, if your content knowledge is good, you only need the revision kit. I'll show you the revision kit in a minute, and I'll show you how you can most effectively use that as well. So there's some really awesome things you can do with the ultimate guide. Obviously, you can also, at this time of year, you might want to increase the speed. You might want to watch it at 1.5 speed. If you're using it just for revision purposes, depends if there's a difference between learning and there's a difference between revising. If you had a month off school because you were sick, or you went on some crazy awesome holiday somewhere and you literally didn't go to the lessons, and it's totally alien to you, you've got to learn it. In which case, the most effective way and the fastest way of doing it is to do this. Watch the video, normal speed, no notes. Just watch the video start to finish. Make sure you're following every single step along the way and that you understand it as I'm going through it. If not, you can just like make sure you go back a little bit and follow it through. Then print out the template note and go through the video a second time around, filling in the template note, adding annotations, and being really engaged and active in your learning. That is the most effective way of actually using it to learn. Ideally, at this point of the year, you've done that already. Lots of our Brainia students will have been using the course since September, so you've had a huge amount of access to the videos. And if you've been using it well and using it wisely, then your content knowledge will be like rock solid. And so now you can basically transition over to the revision kit. But that's how you'd use it to learn. If you want to use it to revise, you want to be like basically printing out the template note, trying to fill it in, maybe watching on a faster speed. You can then summarize all the red videos and just do those ones and go back over those. That's how you should be using it. But if you are starting with the Ultimate Guide right now, people have completed the course in feasibly in a week. Like half term, May half term is coming up. Easily, May half term would be well worth having just for May half term. So those of you who got the course, what do you think would be the minimum amount of time that you could use it to still see an improvement? Okay, I've been ignoring the chat a little bit. You've also got access to paper 2 and 3 AQA, isn't that for 2018? Yeah. The 25 mark questions and the importance of controlling movement in lines. Which topic should you use? Okay, well, part of the skill of the essay question is going to be knowing like which topics to use. If you've got the revision kit, then I can maybe show you a little bit of my essay planning. Like the essay planning course is part of the revision kit. So if you're an AQA student and you're freaking out about the essay, then that's all in the revision kit. How to plan it, how to write it, how to spend your time, how like my essay plans, you've got annotated answers from other students, you've got marked examples from other students and loads of example practice questions and titles. You've got all the stuff in there you might ever need. Will tailored tutors be free in the last 2 weeks of the year? Like last year, it was so helpful. It wasn't free last 2 weeks of last year. No, it wasn't. So I don't know exactly what you mean. No, it's not going to be free is the simple answer to that. Exams are in 3 weeks. Yeah, basically, well, it depends on if you're a year 12 student or year 13 student as to when your exams start. A-level biology paper 1 is, oh gosh, I've got all the exam dates in my head. I'll have a look in a second. In fact, let's just stop sharing this. I'll come back over here and I'll go into the revision kit in just a second. I'm not going to do any biology questions until the end, so you don't have to submit your biology questions. I will take 1 or 2, but I'll do them at the end. First exam is 4th of June. Aisha, welcome, Aisha. How come you will have so much time? I don't know who's that in reference to, Huma. If you can get 2 weeks more, you're pretty sure you can do really well. Yeah. Depends on what you mean by that. You've obviously had 18 months, or when did you start? You started in September 18 months ago, or just over 18 months ago. So you've had a fair bit of time. I been banging the drum saying you should probably get, like in my web classes, like you should probably be starting past papers like in January. Well, I started with my students doing past papers in October is when we started doing past papers. Keep scraping an A. Well, that's a great result, to be honest. Like, well done for scraping an A. But no matter how much your revision you do, you can't get up to an A star. Okay, that's a good question. How do you make that final push to get up to an A star? Like, what are your weaknesses, Aisha? Obviously, it totally depends on each student. Like, have you analyzed all your past papers? Every time you do a past paper, you should be spending at least for an action hour, 45 minutes, breaking down what you've done. Every single mark that you drop, especially if you're going for A's and A stars, every single mark you drop, why? Why did you drop that mark? Like, was it content knowledge? Was it a skill? Was it just a stupid mistake? But just making a stupid mistake isn't really just making a stupid mistake. Like how do you've got to find those things that are consistently costing you marks and eliminate them. That's what your revision needs to be working on, not just like revising content and stuff like that. You need to be working on the specific things that are dropping you marks. You're weak at applying knowledge. Okay, so there's lots of application questions. Do you know what the application AO2, AO3 command words are? That's what I would be doing if that's your weakness. If your weakness is those application questions, do a couple of action hours just doing those application questions. Suggest, justify, explain and calculate fall into that, but they're probably not the ones that you're talking about at that point. So you can be searching for those command words, analyze and comment. Oh, what's your exam board? It will depend on your exam board as to what the command words come up most frequently for those application questions. How do you go from a D to A? Is your AS, what's your like, I would say get the revision, get the ultimate guide if your content knowledge is weak, and just smash the ultimate guide is probably the easiest way of going up a grade. Ideally just get both, smash the ultimate guide and then do a little bit of past paper practice. But if your content knowledge is good, you want to be doing all past paper practice and then using the ultimate guide to just fill in the little gaps. That's the best way of going from. Last year we had students buy the course in May and go from a D to an A. Totally happened. I've got a spreadsheet somewhere. There's loads and loads and loads of data. There's not a lot of marks between the grade boundaries. I'm going to do a web class next weekend, not this weekend coming, next weekend, about the grade boundaries and my predictions. And basically, yeah, it's going to be a follow-up to the how to improve 1 to 2 grades in May web class. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. Okay, so I'm going to jump back into share my screen again. And I'm going to go back to showing you the bit about the revision kit. So those of you who's got the revision kit, who doesn't have the revision kit, give me a quick yes or no to the revision kit in your in the chat there. I'm going to get rid of the notes template. We don't need it anymore. I've shown you that. Let's go back to my courses page. Okay, so all these shiny ones here are the biology revision kits. Okay, awesome. Lots of you've got it. Mira, ask those people who've got it. 100% that's all you need. You don't need your textbook. You don't need a tutor. You don't need a teacher anymore. Like, once you've got these courses, they are everything. But ask the people who are there. Okay. We're first, anyone who's a Brainia student, write Brainia in the chat. First one I've actually seen. Welcome. Don't forget to follow and subscribe the channel, because I'm doing quite a lot of free YouTube stuff at the minute. Tuesdays at 5 o'clock, I jump on and do like half an hour of biology questions. Okay, so let's have a look at this. The best way of using the revision kit in May is to start with the past papers course. This is going to be the general formula to, we've just added the 2018 papers. I'm actually going to jump into this lesson right here. You get all the how to use the revision kit, how to use the past papers, how to mark the past papers. I've done videos and all that. Okay, so this is what the revision kit looks like on the inside. We've just added the 2018 papers. So this is all the 2018s for AQA. We've got 2018 paper 1, 2017 paper 1, 2015. So they're all organized by paper. You've got all the questions, and for every single question, you've got 3 videos. You've obviously got all the OCR papers where it's just like heaps and heaps. And the way the revision kit is too big to try and watch it all. The idea, like with the ultimate guide, ideally you watch every single video and you take notes on every single video. That is not the strategy for the revision kit. That's one thing I wanted to make really clear with this session. What you should be doing is attempting. So let's say, I always use AQA as an example. Let's use an OCR one as an example. I've filmed an exam report for every single paper, showing you, or telling you which questions I found the most difficult, which questions are like, which ones on the stats, which ones on the maths, which practicals are involved. I don't think I actually clicked the button there, which doesn't help. So on each of these, you get the exam report, and underneath the exam report, you can download the past paper and the progress tracker that we've given you, so you can track your progress. Aisha, have you been using the progress tracker? That's something that I'd highly recommend as well. So you get that, and you can download the papers from underneath. They're all down there. And then let's just choose one of these. Let me just catch up on a few questions here. There's every single, all the AQA, all the OCR, all the EdXL papers are inside the past paper course. So who was that? Boo. Someone was saying that. So we've basically selected the videos that are most suitable to you, but that's all in the revised by topic. I'm going to come to that one. This course is just that every question. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so every video you've got the question analysis video where I break down the question and show you what the question is about, but without answering it. Then the response videos are I'm answering the question closed book, so I'm not getting any help there. I get about 85% on the A-level biology exam, so about 15% of the questions or marks I get wrong. And then the marking video is obviously where I correct anything I got wrong, and if I didn't use quite the right words, I give you obviously how to improve it and use it. Something that our Brainia students won't have seen either is like you can say, hey Rich, I don't understand how to calculate percentage change. And then I wouldn't actually write that as my question because I'd give myself a bit more, but you can basically ask me a question and I'm going to then respond to all your questions. So for every single one of these paper questions in the new spec, you can ask me a question on it and I will get back to you. Okay, let's just catch up with the chat. I was ballet shoes. What are the past papers at AQA when you bought the OCR course? Yeah, they're all in here. So you don't have to worry, all the OCR, all the EdXL. And what we've also done is actually curated the papers so that if you are an EdXL student, we've given you the AQA papers and the OCR papers and filtered them and to show you which questions are relevant for you and which questions are not relevant for you. Okay, so using the past paper trackers, which I didn't actually show you. I can go to an EdXL. I'm a bit biased because I always demonstrate the AQA just because 60+% of you. What exam board do you do? Just throw it in the chat. What exam board do you do for biology? Is it AQA, OCR, EdXL? I'm expecting 55, 60% AQA, 30% OCR, and then maybe a mixture of WJ and EdXL and a few other bits and pieces. Okay. So yeah, underneath these, you can download the exam paper tracker, which I can just show you just quickly, and our action hour cards. Who's using action hours? There's like we've been getting amazing feedback about that. So this is for EdXL paper 1, and it's got the specimen, the 2017 and 2018. You've got your mark and your grade that you can put up here. So the first attempt on this paper, you make a note of your errors and your what things you need to do differently. And then when you attempt it the second time around, you can keep a log. So ideally, you want to be doing each of these papers 3 times before your exams. Closed book, time conditions, always. And then obviously your weakest 3 questions or your weakest 3 topics is when you go back to the ultimate guide to go and learn that content, or you can use the topic-based course. The topic-based part of the revision kit. So let's go back and have a little look at that. Which of the courses, those of you who've got the revision kit, which of the courses have you found most useful so far? So this student is an AQA student. If you have an OCR course, if you are an OCR student, obviously these courses are exam board specific, but let's just have a little look inside here. So this is the same videos. I'm not trying to persuade you that this is a completely different course. These are the same videos. However, we've grouped them by topic so that once you've done your past paper, and let's say you've found you've got a big weakness with, what do we have a weakness with? Maybe what's a difficult, maybe you don't like respiration, or you didn't learn respiration very well. So you've then got all the respiration questions. You can see which paper they came from. This is AQA paper 2, 2015, but we've selected the bits and pieces in here. Maybe let's do the math skills section. Look how many math skills questions there are that you can just, if math skills is a weakness of yours, you can just smash through the math skills. Like the good thing about the math skills is you can just do them all like back to back to back to back to back. You can do all the percentage change questions and you'll understand how to do the percentage change questions. If you volume of a sphere calculations, if you can just do all the volume of a sphere calculations, and you can do all of those. Yes, in the topics, in topic-based course, you've got all the major topics. These are all the AQA ones, and then you've got at the end of that you've got investigations. So all the loads of investigations that are basically in there. You've then got the stat skills, all the stat skills in there, and you've got math skills in there as well. And what's down the end here? The practical skills questions, all the practical skills questions that are grouped together from all the different exam boards. So you can actually get the benefit of using all the other exam boards as well. AQA don't do any multiple, there's like maybe 1 or 2 multiple choice questions, but if you do want some little multiple choice tests, then all the OCR multiple choice questions are down the bottom there. And again, you can use the curated past papers to choose to see which ones are relevant. I think actually we might have done that for you. That was not a job that I was doing, but let's say, I don't know what's in, I don't know whether the advisories are in here or not. You can cancel a subscription. It's a monthly subscription. You start it when you want. You can end it when you want. No, I don't know. Where would I have put an advisory? But basically, a lot of the questions we put a little advisory saying part C2 for this question isn't suitable to your exam board. So if you're an AQA student doing an OCR question, then you'll see that you can see that it is basically which bits you need to know, which bits you don't. I'm trying to think if I did a couple of those today. Actually, I was just like tidying up some of the 2018 papers because we published them today. The math skills won't be in math skills because math skills is the same for everyone. I can't remember. My brain is swimming with all the different things. Yeah, okay. Simpson's index of diversity is different for OCR than it is for AQA and Edexcel. AQA and Edexcel do an index of diversity, but it's not Simpson's index of diversity. OCR do Simpson's index of diversity, which is why those videos have been separated inside the revision kit. So OCR students don't have the AQA and Edexcel index of diversity because it's a different equation. Very similar, but it's not the same. Okay, so the curated papers. Oh, okay, so curated, but do you want to actually have a look at the curated papers? I didn't really show you those. I think that would be really useful to have a look at as well, because if you've done, I showed you the past paper tracker, you should be, the first thing you should do, and when you should do attempt 1, attempt 2, and attempt 3 at, remember this is just paper 1, right? So this is the specimen, the 2017 and the 2018. So you've also got paper 2 and you've got paper 3 for your exam board. And so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times 3 papers is 27 closed book past papers for your exam board. Ideally, do all of those before you get too carried away with doing old spec papers, before you get too carried away with doing other exam board papers. But if you're super well on it and organized, let's go back. I'll show you how to navigate around and how to do this. This is good. It's great having some people here using it because even though you've got it, there's bits and pieces I can show you. So the curated past papers are in the past papers course, right down the bottom. Basically, look how many questions are in here. Don't try and watch it all. You will drive yourself crazy. The old spec papers are in here as well, but as I've said, don't worry about those. Let's pretend you're an Edexcel student. As I said, I keep ignoring them, and you want to have a go at some AQA paper 2. There's actually quite a lot of overlap between these papers, so I don't know how many of these questions will have been. Let's take this one, the 2017 paper. So you can download these. You can open it up. And so this is the AQA. You're an Edexcel student, remember. You're an Edexcel student. You've downloaded this AQA paper. And so all of these questions are good. There's bound to be one in here. All of these questions are good. Oh, I'm just getting a phone call, which I will, how do I decline that little phone call? Sorry about that, folks. Should have put my phone on airplane mode. Okay, so this paper, look how similar. Okay, so far this paper up until question 6 has been totally accessible to Edexcel students. All the content has been the same. But this question, we've not blanked it out. You can still read it. You can still have a go at it if you want to. But 6.1 and 6.2 of this Edexcel paper, if you are an Edexcel student, this AQA paper for an Edexcel student is not relevant. So this one is not content that you're expected to know. So we've graded out. And so we've basically given you all the other exam boards papers, but with this filter on it, so that you can do this paper. And then when you mark it, you're obviously going to be able to just ignore question 6 on this paper, which is like super duper bomber. So you have even more past papers to go out, which is like great. I'll just catch up with the chat. Covered, can you cancel your subscription? Yes, you can start it and stop it. It's like Spotify. You start it when you want. It's just a monthly subscription. But Aisha, before you get delving into those, make sure you've done at least 2 attempts on every single paper, 1, paper 2, paper 3, 15, 17, and 18 for your exam board. before you go delving off into the other bits. If you want other examples of questions, then that's when you can use the revise by topic. Oh, that's the wrong course over here. Okay, so, and if you want the old spec papers are down there as well. But to be honest, I wouldn't, there's so much now that you need to be doing, be focusing on the new spec. The math skills, for example, is the same no matter which exam board you do. It's all set by Ofqual, the math skills are the math skills. So you can search for the word calculate on any past paper and you can do those questions. The context of the question might be a bit weird. Maybe they're talking about the liver or the kidney and you're an EdXL student, you don't do the liver or the kidney, but the actual calculation will be something that you are expected to be able to do in terms of the pure maths of it. Okay, so I've covered these two courses. So you do your past paper, closed book time conditions, you find your weak areas. If you need to relearn the content, you go down to the ultimate guide and you learn the content again from there. Or if you want to do some past paper questions by topic, you use the topic-based course to improve your topic-based skills. There's also a full exam technique course. How many of you guys have watched the exam technique course? I'm just going to come back and talk to you for a second here. How many of you have used the exam technique course? Yeah, there's some like pretty awesome advice from me in there, if I do say so myself. I've done over 1,000 past papers now. I don't know, at some point I'll have to give a slightly more. It wouldn't surprise me if I've done 2,000 past papers. Then I've put mostly, this is pretty short. You've got the revision techniques. So if you're like, this is like how you should be spending your time in May. These are all really short, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes. Oh, I'm not actually showing my screen, which means you can't see that. Let me go back. I think that's actually gonna be the most effective is for me to do this window. I think it's this window. Yeah. Okay, so this is the exam technique course for biology. And again, if you've got multiple subjects, you get the exam technique. It's all completely specific to your subject. So this one is how you should be using your time in May. So revision techniques that don't work, things students don't do, but you should do. Why revision sucks, how to make it a bit easier. It's 3 minutes, like how to avoid procrastination, what you should do with making a revision timetable. So these are things I would recommend if you are one of our, if you've got this course already, start here. This is like probably take you 45 minutes to rip through this, take some notes. These are the principles of how to apply fast learning, which is a system I devised with some learning psychologists and some teachers and myself. So it's about how you can maximize your learning and retention at revision time. So it's focus, association, repetition, summarizing, teaching, and testing. There's a little video on each of those. On the day of the exam, I advise what to do on the day of the exam, how to stay calm, how to bring your stress levels down, how to like, there's some little hacks in there. So biohacks as to how you can reduce your cortisol levels. So this is super duper awesome. Then you've got all the information on the action hours, how to download the action hour cards, starting, and basically action hours, like these are going to revolutionize the way that you revise. If you stick to them, your productivity, I get about twice as much done when I use them. So massive, 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 massive tips in there. Again, really short videos. This course you can smash in a week. Like in fact, you could do all of this course in like a couple of hours probably. And then how to use past papers, how to mark past papers. Carbs is one of the techniques I give you for analyzing and breaking down the question, how to stop waffling, how to get top grades. So Aisha, maybe that's a good one for you to have a look at if you're pushing for those A's and SNRs. Common mistakes and how to avoid them, math skills, common mistakes and how to avoid them, your different AO1 command words, AO2 command words, AO3 command words, the practical skills, basically key terms. And then you've got different exam techniques for each of the different papers. So the strategy that you should be using on each of those different papers, where the big mark questions are, where the small mark questions are, and all of that. Okay, so that is the exam technique course. And then the last one, who's been using the Revise with Rich? I haven't seen the new examiner's report. What looks so good about it, Ibrahim? If you are an AQA student, there is the essay course in there. I'll just give you a very quick look at that. Someone was asking me about the essay. To be honest, the exam report, the official exam reports, some of them are useful. Aisha, Ronnie is doing her web class right now. She's going to publish her 2018 papers when she finishes. She should have finished by now, but she always overruns. So she'll finish about 8:30. So the 2018 papers for maths will be published this evening. She's just right now, she's busy. if you are an AQA student and you are doing the essay, you've got my advice on planning the essay, writing the essay. How is it marked? What do they mean when they say the A-level standard, which is one of the most important videos in this course, I think here. These are my essay plans from the three. I did plan both the essays for the paper 2015, 2017, and 2018. So there's 6 essay plans in there, loads of practice titles. You've got annotated examples of different levels. These are the marking brackets: unistructural, multistructural, relational, extended, abstract. So this is a 23 out of 25 mark essay, I think, this one. And this one's 25. Maybe that's the other way around. One of them gets 23, one of them gets 25 marks. So they're like nearly full mark essays on the different essays there. And then you've got a various bunch of older marked examples. That's that. There's so much in here. And so, but the idea with this course is you use the bits of it that you're weak on. That's the whole point of revision in general. You're not trying to learn everything again. It's simply not possible to learn 2 years worth of content in a month. So you've got to pick the bits. You can use the ultimate guide and you can smash the ultimate guide in a month to refresh your knowledge and all of that. Or you can like dip in and out of the revision kit to like get the bits that you need. And the Revise with Rich course is basically every single week we give you 5 videos, although this one actually I gave you a bit of an extra one. There were 6 in here. This is a 45-minute activity. It's an action hour where I give you a task and I tell you what you should be doing that day, and you log on and you do that activity with me. I'll maybe the 5-word challenge. This is one of the revision techniques I give my students to like stop waffling and like tune up your key terms and use of key terms. So you basically start off with a video of me giving you the task. It looks a little bit like this. I'll just pause it. So I give you, I keep pausing it with my eyes closed. So I basically tell you the task, and then I start a 45-minute timer, and you see me, basically you count down with me, and you do the task with me in real time for 45 minutes. And then when you're done, I say goodbye, basically. And then that's about it. So every day, there's 5 of those a week starting. We started these at the beginning of April, but you've got obviously access to set A, B, and C. And we publish on a Sunday night or a Monday morning, we publish the next set. So if you see that actually set E is where we're up to, but set E is released on Monday. Okay. Let's come back over here. I've lost my YouTube. Here it is. Okay, let's catch up on some questions. What's different about the OCR exam reports, Ibrahim? Tell me, I haven't seen them yet. They have exam reports with each paper questions, question by question with examples. That sounds really useful, which is like, yeah, for some reason, the exam reports have never been that great. I'll have a look at them for sure. Aisha, if you're getting A's already, clearly you don't need to learn it all in a month. What you need to do is find the bits that you don't know and learn then. You did all the paper 3s. It was the first time doing an essay in time conditions. It had like 20 minutes to write it. Okay, so timing. That's why your past papers have to be timed. There's no point doing it casually with music on and just like working your way through it question by question, going and making a cup of tea. It's a performance, the exam, and you've got to practice the performance. It's like you wouldn't just like having a kickabout with your mates is not the same as playing 2 45-minute halves of a game of football. Like you've got to do them time conditions. And if that's an issue for you, Aisha, then basically train yourself, or you can start with the essay question. But make sure you don't spend an hour and a half on the essay, which you could easily do, and then you've got like no time left for the rest of the paper. Timing is everything, especially with paper 3. Yeah, I mean, the revise with Rich, the study with me's are basically there for if you don't know, if you just feel overwhelmed and you just don't know what to do, it's like one effective revision task that you can do each day. But what you should be doing is working on your weaknesses. That's what you need to be working on. And it's not going to feel that nice because you're always going to be working on the things that you're least good on. And that never feels great. But it definitely is the thing you need to be doing. Okay, Hamza, start today, start tomorrow. Like, start your past papers this weekend. Do a time condition paper 1, paper 2, and paper 3 for biology. I mean, that's a lot. Maybe do one on a Saturday and one on a Sunday, or paper 1 and a paper 2. Like, start. Like, what are you waiting for? Is there a reason why you haven't done that? I'd love to know why you haven't started. Is it because you're a bit nervous about doing them? Feel a bit apprehensive about starting them, which is totally normal. But it's not going to get any easier by waiting. Like, leaving it, you are literally like voluntarily doing damage to your grade by not doing past papers and starting them now. Ibrahim, for your biology grades, you're always jumping between A and B. Okay, so what do you need for your, I mean, A's and B's, good grades, but it depends what you need for your uni. Again, isolate what it is that's costing you those marks. Every single mark that you do, again, if you watch in the revision kit, the past paper tracker, when I'm filling in the past paper tracker, I'm analyzing what I've done wrong. Where did I lose my marks? Which questions do I need to go back and repeat? The average essay mark last year was about 14.6 with a standard deviation that was quite small, I think. 2 past papers a day, awesome. Yeah, I mean, obviously that's probably across all your subjects I'm taking it, Aisha. You're probably not doing 2 biology papers a day, or not 2 papers per day per subject, but yeah. Got loads to catch up on. Hamza, okay, well, but use, okay, so like you've got content as well, but like you've got to, like, all the content knowledge in the world is not much use to you if you haven't been practicing the papers, because the papers, you need to learn the exam technique. So do a paper and you might find you're learning content that you know pretty well already. Like, you might find that you're just spending all this time learning stuff that you've basically got in your head. So do the papers, closed book, time conditions, find out what your weakest topics are, and then learn those ones. If you're like content knowledge, it depends what grade you're going for. If your target is a C and your content knowledge is poor, to be honest, the ultimate guide is your best friend. Content is king in biology, but if you're pushing for top grades and your content knowledge is pretty good, then there's too much content to try and cram it all in. And like, it totally depends. It's a student by student basis. Obviously, when I'm working with a student one-on-one, it's much easier for me to assess what their weaknesses are, but I'm trying to train you so that you can find your own weaknesses and then you can improve them. 5 on weekends, that's loads. Obviously you're pushing really hard. That's great. I mean, like, don't give yourself a bit of time off though, because it's a marathon, not a sprint. You know, the real craziness is going to happen during May half term, and you don't want to be burned out by then. Okay, awesome. You got your mocks back and you got an A star in the 2018 paper 3, but you're not feeling that confident for paper 3. Okay, so it depends on your exam board, but yeah, paper 3 for OCR is much shorter. But for AQA, you got the essay question, it's about regular length. So Kendra, have you been using the course? Like, tell me a bit about what your experiences are with TT. Have you been using the Ultimate Guide? Have you not been using it at all? Are you a Brainia student? Like, let me know, and I can maybe point you and give you some other advice. Doing paid questions by topic, and it literally takes me 5 hours. Okay, so Booker, I would flip your method the other way around. Do your past paper questions by past paper first, then find out what you're weak on. Use, like, basically mark it, find out your worst 3 questions, which ones did you drop most marks on, then use part, like, if you found that you're weak on the immune system, you're weak on gene technology, and you're weak on speciation, then you do past paper questions on those topics to improve those. Otherwise, you're quite right, you can't do all the past paper questions by topic for all the topics because there are too many questions to do. So that you flip your method around, past paper, closed book, find the weaknesses, and then go and do Ultimate Guide, go and do questions by topic, go and do whatever you want to go and do to improve those particular topics, and then go back and do the same paper again. We're going to be going through all this with you on Monday in how to improve 1 to 2 grades in May. So make sure you don't miss it. When you're doing past papers, you understand the topic of the question, but you don't know what the question wants me to write. Abdullah, you are prime. Have you got the revision kit? Abdullah, that's why I made the revision kit essentially. Yeah, you can go through every single question and see, I break down the question for you so you can figure it out. You can then watch me write it and see which words I'm choosing. Also, you can then watch me mark it, and I can, if I got it wrong, then I'll let you know where I got it wrong. That's exactly basically what I built it for. You're honestly shocked how much your webinars have helped since December. You were a C grade student and now you're getting A's, and now you're pushing for an A star, Aisha. That's like, is that mostly, okay, Aisha, which bits have been the most useful? Has it been the web classes where I go through the exam technique and sort of like break down the questions? Or has it been the ultimate guide? Or has it been the revision kit, or a bit of a combination of all three? Like, which of the bits you think have improved your grades from a C? Give me a question for us. Flashcards and past papers. I don't quite know what you mean. And practice, essay practice. Again, Luca, give me a little bit of something to work with there, and I'll write me a question and I can answer it. Hamza, new spec past papers. Did you not see? Maybe you joined us a little bit later with the past paper track. You want to do each of the new spec papers for your exam board at least twice, and that means there's paper 1, paper 2, paper 3. Yeah, times by 2. And then there's 3 years for each of those. There's a 2015 paper, the specimen, they've got the 2017 paper, and you've got the 2018 paper, which just been published. So that's loads. And until you're getting at least one solid grade above the grade you want to be getting every single time on that paper, don't move on to a new paper. Repeat the same paper over and over and over again, because the questions will be, so if you can do all the past papers that exist for your exam board and you can get an A or an A star on those, literally you will be able to answer nearly the entire paper that you get in June. They will be, if you can answer an A or A star level answer for every single one of those papers that exist for your exam board, you will get an A, almost certainly. And you can just learn what those questions have been saying, because they're so similar. Yes, the questions and the context changes, but effectively they're really similar. Web classes, that's great to hear. I love, yeah, and you're there all the time. It's so nice to, it's my favorite time of the week, to be honest, because I get to interact with you guys. Like, it's like this, but you got in Zoom. It's just, how does it compare for you actually? What's your experience like using YouTube live versus being in the web class in one of our Zoom live sessions? You're getting a D now, you're on a B. That's awesome. Do you need to know extra knowledge to get high marks on the essay? No, forget extra knowledge. Again, in my revision kit, I give you all my advice on that, but don't worry about any outside the spec content. It's irrelevant, basically. You can get a maximum of 2 marks for it, and you can't use that knowledge anywhere else in the exam. Don't worry about it. Can you show us how to do a species index of diversity? Which exam board are you? It's different for OCR, AQA, and EdXL. So I'm probably actually going to avoid that, because I'm going to confuse some of you, no matter which one I choose. Okay, would you say flashcards and past papers are a good strategy for those high grades? Flashcards are really good for stump stuff. Learning the enzymes, learning the key terms, defining the key terms. You can't, again, in the revision kit, we've given you how to make effective flashcards and how to use flashcards effectively. They're not everything. They are active recall and they are spaced repetition if you use them correctly, which are both really effective revision techniques. They are both using that principle where you're pulling information out of your head and not trying to put information in it to test. It's active recall, the testing effect. There's a great video by David Myers on YouTube about it. I would say the strategy, I'm going to keep repeating it. Join us on Monday for the full well-planned, thought-through, action-packed, like all the information that we can give you in an hour. Past paper, closed book, time conditions. Find the worst 3 questions, find out why you dropped those marks, go and then revise or do past paper questions by topic on those specific topics. Or you go, if your content knowledge is like terrible on those topics, go to the ultimate guide, learn it again. That's learning, that's not revising. Then you come back and you do more past paper questions. You do the same paper again until you get at least 1 full grade above the grade that you want to get in the final exam. All my web class students, if you have the ultimate, I'll show you actually, that's a good question. Let me go back and share my screen. Where's Zoom? Here's Zoom. I'm using Zoom to broadcast to you, but no one's in my Zoom room right now. It's just me in my Zoom room. Okay, so let's go back to here. If you are one of our subscribers like Aisha, then you go to your My Courses page effectively, and you'll see if you're a Biology Ultimate Guide subscriber, you get this massive Biology Live weekly web classes. And you can see these are the web classes you can register for. These are the upcoming web classes, and you can get all the recordings of all the web classes I've done all year. But let's say you want to register for, we're doing statistics next Tuesday. So you can come here and then you can register for the class. Basically, that's how you register for my web classes, but you obviously just need to be one of our subscribers in order to get to that page. Okay, anything else inside here that you want to ask me questions about how to use it? I've covered how you upgrade to the revision kit if you don't have it already, if you're one of our Brainia, or I wonder if we've got any more Brainia students now. Any more Brainia students? Give us a Brainia in the chat if you are a Brainia student. Oh, I don't want to be doing that. Stop sharing. Ibrahim, if the examiner can't read your writing, you get nothing. Like, they can't mark you on something they can't read. It is your responsibility to write in a way that they can read it. So the pen that you use can have a big impact on that. So one that's like a crappy biro that's like smudgy and horrible, that it gets scanned. They can zoom in, they can change the contrast, they can magnify your writing. They basically get that frame. OCR students, there isn't actually a frame, but if you are an AQA or EdXL student, then there's literally a box. If you write outside that box, the examiner will not even be able to see it. It will not be scanned. So that's why it's really important that you don't write outside that area. OCR, I don't quite know whether they scan the entire page. I have no idea because there is no frame for you to write inside. But yes, it is your responsibility to be able to write in such a way that they can read the key terms, especially the words. They're generally pretty lenient because they can gather from the context of what you've said as to what you mean, but any words that could be misconstrued, like mitosis, meiosis, obviously quite similar if you've got terrible spelling. Also, another issue that examiners complain about is that tiny writing. Maybe your writing is neat. A lot of my Asian Korean students, when I was teaching in Sydney, had tiny writing, incredibly neat, but tiny, and it doesn't scan very well. Again, if it's too small, that's another issue that the examiners are saying, that they can't, because the quality of the scan isn't amazing, then they can't read it sometimes for that reasons. There was a question. Your grades have been fluctuating from C's and B's and A's and A stars, so you're really nervous on the exam. Okay, so like more practice to get more consistency, Kendra, I'd say. Like again, if your knowledge is good, then past papers become the backbone of everything you're going to be doing. If you're on a C now, can you get a B if you use the course? 100%. After, if you can, like, it depends again where you're weak. Yeah, we had students last year. I wish I could show the spreadsheet, but it's got people's email addresses in it, so I can't. We had, I don't know, I'll have to count them at some point, but we had tens of students go. The best, we didn't have anyone go from an E to an A star. We had students go from an E to an A and from a D to an A star. Nobody did like the magic transformation of E to an A star, sadly, but there's a lot more students using the course this year, so I'm expecting at least one person to go from an E to an A star. Yeah, the average grade improvement was 1.7 grades. If you can, yeah, I think that was people who completed 50% of the ultimate guide. You went from an A star in maths in the same paper in December to a B a week ago. Yeah, but it's well worth repeating those patients because you neglected mechanics. Okay, so at least you know why. Luca, our AQA students know how to calculate standard deviation. AQA students do not have to calculate any of the stats tests. You don't have to calculate chi-squared, you don't have to calculate correlation coefficient, you don't have to calculate a test statistic for students' t-test or for standard deviation. You need to know how to use it, what it means, and how to apply it, but not to do any of the calculations from raw data. Would you say doing exam style topic questions are just as useful as doing past paper questions. I've been through that a million times. Do your past paper questions in order of the past papers first. Find your weaknesses, because it will highlight your weaknesses. Because otherwise, what are you going to do? You're going to do a topic-based question, but then how do you know which topics to do? It's my question to you. Which topics do you start on? Doing a past paper, choosing your weakest 3 topics, and then doing some past paper questions by topic on those topics tell you that you're always doing the most optimally effective topics for those past paper topic questions. The Monday session will be on YouTube as well, although I'd highly recommend signing up from, let me just check if the web page is actually finished or not. We were building the web page just the other day. If it's there, I can tell you where it is. Oh, actually, can I remember? I don't even remember what there's not in the menu, and I can't even remember what the page is. Is it? Let me just delve into my brain here. This is how I remember things. I have to like remember the context. Okay, I was sitting. Oh, I think I can remember. Let me just check here. Let me just see if it's that. That is the URL, but the page isn't finished, so I can't tell you what the link is. But yeah, there will be, we'll be emailing anyone who's in our free trial. We'll be emailing anyone who, so if you want to get an email invitation, who's not bought the course and not tried the free trial, who's not ever signed into our academy at any point in time. If you create an account, if you've tried the free trial for any of the subjects, we'll email you probably on Saturday or Sunday to invite you to the web class on Monday. And then you can join the Zoom room, you can interact with us, you can ask us questions in real time, as opposed to YouTube, which is like super slow and clunky. Okay. I think we're basically done, aren't we? I don't think there's got any more. Yeah, if you are new to the channel, subscribe, hit the bell, make sure you don't miss any. I do quite a lot. This week I've been on YouTube doing A-level biology stuff. Tuesday, Wednesday, and today, and I'm back tomorrow to do some other stuff. But is that going to be public? I don't know if that one's going to be a public. That might be a special one. That's for some of our subscribers. Has anyone gone from an A to an A star? Of course, yeah, loads of people. Yeah, Aisha, loads of people. What do they do? Most of them completed the ultimate guide. I mean, that generally speaking, if you're struggling a little bit with A-level biology, it's probably because your content knowledge isn't that great, and the ultimate guide is like the best thing for teaching you content. There's lots of exam technique built into the ultimate guide. Like I built every video thinking about the exam when I taught the lesson to actually cover it. Basically they just geeked out hard inside our academy. That's what they did. They did all the things that we told them to, and then they worked really hard. Ibrahim, last year you did the real AS biology paper and lost a mark on the multiple choice because you never crossed your answer properly, even though, okay, so yeah. Yeah, so that make sure that you're, again, another reason to practice. I like to, my final past papers, as I get towards, the middle of May, I print them out. As the exam was going to look on the day, and I do them in like exactly how the exam paper. In fact, I've got them here. Do you want to have a look? Oh, these are some of the 2018s. I was just sorting them out. So when I was doing these, I literally print them out. Oh, there's some of the, like, you can see, he wants to see one of my answers. That's a good example question. Describe how the primary structure of lectin enables it to be soluble in water. This is Excel paper 1, 2018. I dropped a mark on that one. I didn't say that it formed a globular protein, which is in edX. Don't worry, if you're an AQA student, you don't need to know about globular and fibrous proteins. But yeah, basically, it's funny looking back at them. And you can see how this is the technique that I teach you in terms of highlighting the question, the important words in the question in blue. You've got, when you're marking it, you're picking out all the words that actually get you the marks in red and being very specific whether you do that. You can see, so that was my answer to that question. See that? again, understanding what the question's going on about. It's not very clearly laid out. Where is it? I'll give you that one for free. Explain the effect of temperature on the rate of growth of blowfly maggots. See, this is an enzymes question. It's nothing to do with blowfly maggots. The growth is controlled by enzymes, but that's as far as it goes. You can see how I've done that, and you can see how I've marked it. Also, lots of tips about like marking, summarizing your how many marks you get per page, and then summarizing which questions you drop most marks on. So yeah, that was paper 1, 2018. Okay, I've missed a few questions. You know most of the content when it comes to exam questions. You struggle with, end up getting low grades. You struggle with the application. Jessica, you know what I'm going to say. Eduard, go to the Tailored Tutors website, sign up, go check it out for yourself. What benefits do you get? You get to sample, basically. You get loads of free content inside there. You get ultimate guide videos, you get revision kit videos, you get like a taste for it. Basically, if you find it useful, I'd jump on it right now, because a month you can still get huge amounts of value from it. I'd say even a week inside the course would be enough if you use it really hard, such as May half term. Jessica, revision kit. So if you know the content, don't worry about the ultimate guide. Just jump in with the revision kit. That sounds like it's going to be everything you need to know. Okay. Is it too late to make a change? No, of course not, Jessica. I get asked that all the time. Of course it's not too late. Like a week is enough. May half term, you could probably add a grade to your what you're going to get in May half term alone. So you've got months. You've got 5 weeks or something. Not quite months, but yeah, you can totally go up a grade or two. Don't miss the web class we're doing on Monday. The ultimate guide is way, yeah, also there's stuff on YouTube if you want to see what the videos are like, but obviously don't forget that the course, the ultimate guide, covers every topic of every module. It's not just a little random selections here and there. You get more inside the free trial than there is on YouTube. So watch the ones on YouTube. If you like it, go over to the free trial, check it out, and then I'd highly recommend subscribing. There's also a 7-day satisfaction guarantee. If you buy it, if you're not satisfied in the first 7 days, let us know, we give you a refund. Okay. You said had to do a spreadsheet for biology, how people last year did. Do you have one for chemistry and maths? I don't. We did a big feedback session. The chemistry and maths courses were brand new basically last year. So we released the chemistry calculations course at Easter. It wasn't a full course, so I don't have this. I don't have the data in the same way. We have the data, but it's not like there's literally hundreds of like the data set. The 1.7 grades average improvement is based off, hundreds of people have used the course. But the chemistry course, I don't know how many people actually. It's really difficult for us to get the feedback on what you actually get. So please, all of you, use the course. When we ask, we're going to run a results day competition. We're going to give you a big fat sweet prize for just entering. You'll have a chance to win. In fact, we might just give everybody something small. We might just give you like a $5 for telling us what grade you got, because I want to know because we know where you start and we know how much the course you use, but unless we know your final grade on results day, we can't do that data analysis. So there'll be a competition, or there'll be a reward for you guys who have used the course to tell us what grade you got, so that we can do all that data analysis. And I would imagine that this year it's going to be even better than 1.7 grades. I don't have the data. Biggest mistakes people make at this time period. That's all in that's all in the exam technique course in the revision kit, Naomi. Do you have the revision kit, Naomi? It's all in there. Go to the exam technique course, and that's in the revision technique. There's all that section on what students don't do that they should, and all the things that students do that they shouldn't. Jessica, the revision kit is go to tailoredtutors.co.uk, and you can check it all out there. If you haven't tried the free trial out, you can just try it out and see for yourself. Just prove it to yourself, or ask these people here. Lots of them are using it. God, I've been yapping at you for ages. Melissa, your ultimate guide subscriber, high five to you. You're going through your DNA and protein synthesis subchapter. When you compare the videos, the AQA textbooks, you were unable to see the comparison. I don't quite understand. When I compare the video and the AQA textbook, I was unable to see the comparison of DNA, messenger RNA, and transfer RNA. I don't quite understand your question. Do you mean like in terms of converting the bases on DNA into, obviously they're going to have complementary bases, it's going to be the opposite bases on messenger RNA, and you're going to swap out, T is going to be replaced by uracil, thymine is going to be swapped out for uracil. So A will pair with U on messenger RNA, and then the anticodon on the transfer RNA will be actually the same as the DNA, but you'll have T swapped out for U's. So if you get that question, super quick little shortcut, if it says, this is the DNA sequence, what was the transfer RNA sequence? Well, it's the same, but you just replace the T's for U's. And like, you don't have to, in terms of the codon swapping out, you need to know that the messenger RNA is complementary to the DNA, and you need to know the transfer RNA is complementary to the messenger RNA. So obviously you can just like work that out from there. It depends on your exam board. If you're an AQA student, then the RNA interference, SI, short interfering RNA, is a heavier influence in the control of gene expression in year 2, which sort of overlaps with that. They've asked that quite a lot though, so I don't imagine another siRNA question popping up this year. I'm going to do all my predictions next weekend, not this weekend, coming next weekend. Check out the YouTube channel. We'll be posting it pretty soon. Okay, any more questions about how to use the course? Any other things you'd like to know from me? It's nearly 9 o'clock. I've got that text message. I just realized who that was. It was a phone call that I promised to make, so I best go and make a phone call. You've made posters of biology. Is it useful to record yourself, read them out loud? Yeah, verbalizing it. Okay, so Aisha, yes and no. Don't just read them out. Don't just read them out. Like, get your poster, flip it upside down so it's face down on the table, and then turn your voice recorder on and speak out what you can remember. It's all about using active recall. Just reading it passively, if I could read it, so instructions: use black ink or ballpoint pen, fill in the boxes at the top of the page with your name, center number, and candidate number, answer all the questions. Like, how much of that am I going to remember? I'm just reading it. I'm using my short-term sensory store. Reading does nothing. It's one of the major things students do wrong at revision time. You shouldn't be reading, you shouldn't be rereading, you shouldn't be highlighting, you shouldn't be copying out notes verbatim. It's all about, that's what I've been trying to tell you, the difference between learning and revising. Revising, everything should be upside down, closed. It should be a test. You should be like trying to recall that information, trying to grab that information and pull it out of your head. If you can't remember it, then that tells you that that's something you can go back and try and fill in the gaps. That's totally fine. It's okay. You don't need 100% in biology. You need 70%. It's going to get you an A star for sure. So you can get 30% of the paper wrong and still walk away with an A star. So you basically should be, everything you do should be trying to pull the information out of your head. Okay. Is it true AQA has to cover the whole spec? Is it true AQA has to cover the whole spec in 3 years of a new spec? I don't know, Hamza, if that's true or not. Making true predictions is a mug's game. It's like, but I can tell you, there's certain things that will be on the paper for sure. I tell you, if you do the specimen paper, if you do the 2017 paper and you do the 2018 paper for your exam board and you nail them, you will have the answers to 90% of the answers that are going to be on the 2019 paper. There already have been 3 years, because if you include the specimen, then you've got 3 years worth of content. So learn those inside and out, backwards, upside down, and you will be in a fine position to sit that exam. Know the answers to every single one of those questions, and you're going to crush it on the day. Katie, I'd say, do you want to learn content? Do you want to learn content? Do you want to learn content? Do you want to learn exam technique? If you want to learn content, Ultimate Guide is the quickest way of doing it. You can cover, it's about 40 hours for all of year 1, the entire year in 40 hours. Yeah, Eleanor, all the 25-mark biology essay questions are in the revision kit. All the how to plan it. I watched the recording of this. I gave a demo of that earlier on. So if you want, go back and watch the recording. Will my predictions be available to everyone? Just the ultimate guide. They'll be available to everyone who comes to my Zoom next Saturday, not this Saturday, next Saturday, 6 p.m. Maintenance rehearsal is what you should do to transfer it to long-term memory. Yeah, yeah, you want spaced repetition, definitely. No questions on the heart. Yeah, if you've got any trends that you want to share with me, I'll definitely look into them and see if I agree with you. So that's a good one from Aisha. They haven't done anything on the heart in the last 3 years, so it could be a good one to brush up on. Yeah, so semantically processing the information, again, verbalizing it. When you verbalize some information, so such as Aisha saying that she's going to read out her posters, again, I wouldn't say read them out, but do speak them out. Do test yourself, because when you're verbalizing it, you're actually using slightly different neural pathways in your brain, and that gives it a more 3D image basically inside your brain. It helps contextualize the information and it helps solidify that in your brain. So by speaking things out, teach it to try and do like a 3-minute teach it to your dog, teach it to your bedside table, teach it to your mum, teach it to whoever, but trying to teach that information by verbalizing it. If you're stuttering and stammering and stopping and hesitating, then you know your knowledge isn't quite good enough. If you can like, okay, so oxidative phosphorylation, you got reduced NAD and reduced FAD, release their protons, which splits into electrons. They release their hydrogen atoms, which split into protons and electrons. The electrons flow through electron carrier proteins through the internal membrane of the mitochondria. This releases energy, which pumps the protons into the intermembrane space, building up a proton gradient. The protons then diffuse back through ATP synthase in a process called chemiosmosis. This powers the energy that you need to convert ADP and inorganic phosphate to make ATP. The protons and the electrons leave the electron transport chain and are joined onto oxygen, which acts as the final electron acceptor to make a product of water. Then if you can like give fluid summaries of like topics like that, you know your content knowledge is good. Okay, broken, just go to your My Courses page. I'll show you one more time, because if you're one of the courses, it should be pretty straightforward. Let's find Zoom, otherwise I can't share my screen again. Okay, so in the menu, broken, you're going to find My Courses up here, which will take you to the page that I'm on. I'm just clicking on it so you can see. Yeah, this is this student. Well, in my test account, I've given myself loads of all the things. I've got loads of stuff, but the one you're looking for, the year 1 AQA, you've got the year 2 AQA, and you've got the live weekly web classes. So in the live web classes, you can obviously, these are the dates. This is my next one on Tuesday. You can go to this lesson. And then I'm doing quite a lot on the internet right now. I think I'm still uploading some files, which was stupid. I should have stopped the upload before I started the live, shouldn't I? And then you can register here. You need to register 24 hours in advance, because we manually check your email address is an Ultimate Guide email address. And then we'll accept you, and you'll get the link to join the Zoom room when we confirm your email. Okay, right. Kate, definitely. That is exactly the technique. Would you suggest I do a few past papers and see my weakest areas and then learn the content from those areas? I've left it a bit late. Yes, that is exactly the method. Couldn't have written it better myself. Bioaccumulation is not a required key term for AQA. You won't get a question saying, what is it? Or if that does come up in the context of a question, they will tell you what that means. I like that, Abdi. Examiners are heartless, that's why. If you're an Ultimate Guide subscriber, how do you input your current grades? In the Improve a Grade money back guarantee, when you sign up, you basically tell us what grade you're on, and you send us your mock grade, or you send us your whatever. So actually, it's kind of overinflated, because I'm sure most people choose their best grade for that. I'm sure they do, but I know that you're going to improve. So if you everyone says that it helps them improve. So like the number of people that actually claim the money back guarantee is not that, as a proportion, it's very low, because nearly everyone gets their grade. And if you don't, then if you're honest with yourself, I think you know how much the course has actually helped you. Aisha will send you an email. If you're if you're registered for the course, we'll send you an email. It will also be on YouTube, but the YouTube, I don't think will be managing the chat. I think it's just going to be broadcast to YouTube, and you guys can have a chat over there. We'll be answering the questions in the Zoom. Depends, Broken, which exam board are you? Chemiosmosis is actually in the electron transport chain in the photosynthesis section of the AQA course. I'm done. I think actually, Abdi, I'm toast. I just realized I promised to make a phone call that I didn't do, and they phoned me and I ignored them because I was live on YouTube, and I'll have to go and apologize to them right now. So thanks. I didn't use it. Which exam board are you, Broken? It kind of depends on which exam board you are as to whether that's basically all of those ultimate guide video tutorials are taken from the mark schemes. AQA don't typically use chemiosmosis as a term in oxidative phosphorylation. They use it as a term much more frequently in photosynthesis, which is probably why that's the case. Yeah, told you. Yeah. So I've used the mark schemes to build those lessons. So if your exam board uses that term in that context for that topic, then I've put it in there. And if they don't, then I haven't. For example, DNA helicase, breaking the hydrogen bonds between DNA to unravel it. Actually, I have seen one example now, but they only ever used that for DNA replication. They never said that DNA helicase was used to break the hydrogen bonds during separating the DNA during protein synthesis, during transcription. There has been one example since then, but in all the old spec and basically all the past papers, even though it's the same enzyme doing the same thing, it just, they consider that to be a valid point for DNA synthesis. They don't consider it a valid point for protein synthesis. So it's in my video on one, and it's not in the video on the other, because that's what the exam boards want you to say. It's like crazy. They have their little mindsets of, when we're examining this bit, we want these words. And when we're examining this bit, we want these words. And even though it's doing the same thing at the same time, it's crazy. But trust me, I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, they're made every year, Abdi. All the papers are made each year. Granite, last question I'm going to do is from Granite. I can promise you, how many closed book past papers have you done? In fact, you can all tell me that. How many have you done timed conditions on your own, not in school, not in college, on your own? In how many past papers have you sat down under time conditions, no help, no music, no nothing, just you and the paper? I want to know. You done many? Great. Okay. 2002. Awesome. About 6, honestly none. Okay, so this is, I'd say, this is something you want to be practicing. You want to be practicing the exam time conditions. The reason why the real exams feel harder, I can guarantee you're going to walk out the real exam thinking that was really hard. Because every student does every year. Occasionally you get, the topics that you're really strong on come up and you smash it and you've done a good job. But generally speaking, you are going to not be feeling that great because you've probably seen those questions somewhere else before. You've probably done them in class. You might have done them in my web classes. There's no pressure on. They're familiar questions that you've maybe seen, on video tutorial somewhere. So when you get to the real exam, the context, everything, the pressure is gonna make it feel more scary, and you will feel like it's more difficult, and that's just the way that it is, and that's the same every year. So don't stress, but practice those time conditions, those closed book, no music, no nothing, because that's the real thing. That's why I print my papers off like this, because I want to simulate as best I possibly can what it's going to be like to be in the exam hall. And on that note, why don't they keep the old spec with coursework? Oh, don't tell, I don't know. It's such a backward step. It's so crazy. the questions are incredibly repetitive. How do you think I made the ultimate guide? I know the ultimate guide is based on all the past papers and all the experience that I have. Abdullah, you nailed it. Again, Katie said this before, do a past paper, mark it, find out which question you did badly on, and then watch the answer revision kit, do some questions by topic, or do the ultimate guide videos if your content knowledge is weak. Abdullah, that's so perfect. I'm going to end it on that comment because that's exactly what students should be doing. That's very much what we're going to be telling you to do in the web class on Monday. If you don't know how to sign up to that, just make sure you're enrolled in our academy. We will invite you. If not, check out the Tailored Tutors website on the weekend. And the web class is on Monday at 6 o'clock. It's going to replace our Monday check-in on YouTube. But join us in the Zoom room because you'll be able to interact with us a little bit better. And I'll see you then.